And now it's time for my review of In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, 12 episodes on Crunchyroll. This right here is Yoi Takiguchi, and that right there is Kohaku Ichimura. They are both the respective princes of their classes. Everybody looks at them and thinks they're incredibly handsome, fantasizes about them, they get confessed to all the time. For Yoi here, it's a little weird because it's usually girls that are confessing to her, and she is also a girl, but she just has somewhat masculine features, haircut, height, uh, thin body, etc. That guy over there, Koku, he is obviously very princely. He's got earrings, he's got the white hair, he's very rich, and I don't think it's a stretch to see why women would also be confessing to him. One day he jumps off of a second story roof and sort of lands right in front of Yui and really is struck by her beauty and says that she's beautiful and beautiful like a woman. And this really strikes Yui because pretty much everybody just looks at her as a really pretty boy, a K-pop, J-pop idol like figure. And so this intrigues me. I like the premise, the idea that the two prettiest people in school, one who is insecure about themselves and keeps getting perceived as something that she's not, the other who gets idolized when nobody really knows them that well. And in fact, I think that's true for both of them, is that nobody really understands them that well, and the two of them can understand each other. The problem is, Kohaku keeps trying to play it cool, and he plays it cool too much, and he's actually had dated a lot, whereas Yoi is not. And so then he comes off as like kind of pushy and not really understanding and like too cool for school, whereas Yoi is always like freaking out and not sure what to do because she's never had a boy go after her and go after her in a fashion that sees her as a woman and not as a prince. And so, while I do really like her character, and I think her character goes through struggles that are understandable and somewhat relatable, even if that situation is not something that I've personally experienced, I can understand why she would act that way. I can understand why Kohaku acts the way that he does, but that doesn't make him appealing. That doesn't make him a character that I root for. I'm not rooting for this couple to get together. I don't like them together. I don't like the way that he treats her. And I think that she it gets a little wrapped up in the fact that a pretty boy is seeing her that way. And then later on, there is a boy that is working with her who also ends up liking her. And I'm just like, oh, I'd rather see them together. But it's like, you know, this Prince guy got in first, I guess. And they frame that in the story and they talk about it in the story where they're just like, I wonder what would have happened if I got there first or said something first. And they don't really like show why these two are better for each other. They're just kind of like, yeah, I do wonder. Like, so the ending is very rushed. The sort of like problems that would arise in the relationships aren't very good and they aren't really like explored very well. Um, I hate to say it, this is kind of just like pretty people problems, and it ends up not being very appealing. So while I did like the initial premise, I feel like the execution of the story was just not very good, and it really went downhill as episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12 happened. So ultimately, in the end, I can't really recommend this one. In the Clear, Moonlit Dusk gets a 6.5 from me, and that's pretty low if you've watched any of my videos.